Hello again, everybody. Zacatech is here with my UFC 157 review for tonight. Well, so that's like Saturday, February 23rd, 2013. I want to post it from B-Dubs again tonight. My thoughts on tonight's pay-per-view. I never thought I would say these words. I know a lot of y'all may gonna hate me for saying this, but I have to say it. Aside from the main event tonight, which was the only good thing, not only would I not thought I would ever say that the girls' fight was way better than all the guys' fights, and I would never thought that, like I said, aside from that girl main event, despite being a one rounder, it was great. The first 4 fights of the night, I never thought I would say this, but the Bellator card from this past Thursday on Spike, way fucking better than the night's first 4 fights. I am sorry. Bellator on Spike, I used to hate Bellator because I went to a Bellator once and hated it. But this Bellator that aired this past Thursday, it had action, it had excitement. Something that the last couple of UFC pay-per-views, including this one, aside from the main event, lacked. The first 4 fights were just lackluster at best. There was more great moments, but not a lot of action. Like, some had good moments, but not exciting moments. You mean, the second fight had good action, but lack of excitement. You know what I mean? That's what the exception of the main event. That's what this card and the last couple UFC cards have lacked a bit. Lacked excitement and lacked action. And like I said, Bellator, I now thought I would say and like I said, y'all may disagree with me on this, but I have to admit it. Bellator this past Thursday, great finishes, great knockouts. We didn't see a lot of that tonight in UFC. Like I said, lack of action, lack of excitement. So let's get down to it. Overall review, 6.0. I don't think I've ever rated it any UFC pay-per-view in the last couple of months higher than a 6.0. And I never thought I'd see UFC in a slump like this. You know, this is just my opinion. The last couple of UFC have not been exciting to me. So let's kick it off with first fight tonight on the main card, which was in the welterweight division. It was Josh KOSCHECK taking on ruthless Robbie Lawler, returning to the UFC for the first time since 2004. Of course, Robbie Lawler is a former Strikeforce guy. Of course, a lot of Strikeforce people now in UFC because of the out of business of the Bellator. The first couple of minutes of this fight, a little boring to begin with. Not a lot of action. Like I said, you're going to hear me say a lot of no action, no excitement in these fights tonight. So get ready to hear me say it a lot. Anyway, there was a little bit of a takedown there, but as KOSCHECK was taking him on the ground, Lawler kind of elbowed him a little and got a TKO victory out of it. Like, some decent punches, but like I said, the first couple of seconds were shitty until that TKO from Robbie Lawler when KOSCHECK was on the ground and Robbie elbowed him and punched him. TKO because of punches and strikes. So there you go. I was going to give it a 2.0. I'll give it a 2.0. Because I just didn't like the ending was kind of good, but the first half was just, at least the ending made up for it. But like I said, when it's this card tonight, not so much. So Robbie Lawler gets the victory. Now, besides for the main event, the only fight that had action but lacked excitement. Court McGee taking on Josh NEER in the welterweight division again. This fight was decent, you know. If you can call anything besides the main event in this card decent, you know, it was some okay action. You mean there was good action, but not excitement though. You know, McGee dominated the first round, got some good strikes and got a good takedown and submission attempt near the end of the first round, but NEER started coming back to life in the second round and giving McGee a fight. But the third round, it was kind of ground and pound, you know, it was on the ground, you know. But like I said, it was the only thing decent from the guys tonight. You know, if you can call anything from the guys tonight decent. You know, like I said, great action, but lacked excitement. That's why I'm giving it a 2.2. If it was more exciting, if it had more of a great dramatic climax, you know, a lot more excitement, this would have been a lot higher fight. So there you go. Decent fight. A lot more action than the other fights. Let me say that much. It is an example of great moments outweighing great matches. Third fight in the bantamweight division. It was URIJAH FABER, the California kid. This was in the Honda Center after all. A lot of Californians in the car tonight. He took on Ivan MENJIVAR in a rematch from a previous encounter. Now, first couple of seconds of this fight, it was okay. Decent stand-up and ground for pound in the first round. Ivan MENJIVAR kind of dominated the first half, but that great transition to that great submission from URIJAH FABER, climbing sideways on Ivan's back, then centering himself for a standing rear naked choke. That was a great moment. Like I said, for being a night of lack of excitement and lack of action, at least it was somewhat exciting, this fight between URIJAH and MENJIVAR. That was the only exciting thing about this fight. The first couple minutes was good, but this great transition to a great submission from URIJAH was awesome. I give this also a 2.0. I think I gave the NEER Court McGee fight a 2.2. So they go URIJAH FABER, a great submission over Ivan MENJIVAR. That was a great transition to a great submission. That's probably going to win submission of the night. Well, it could be a tie with that and the main event. Now on to our co-main event. God, I was fearing this match was going to be a fight not to lose fight, and unfortunately, I was right. In a proposed number one contenders fight for the light heavyweight championship, possibly, of course, the winner would possibly face the winner of the John Bones Jones Chael Sonnen fight on April 27th at UFC 159. It was Dan Henderson versus LYOTO Machida. This fight was not what I expected. I always say in my reviews about fight not to lose fights. Fight not to lose fights, if you haven't been watching my reviews, fight not to lose fights are fights that the two guys just stand there and do nothing for 15 minutes. Because they don't want to lose and lose payday. Well, that's what this was. There was okay strikes in this fight, you know, but lack of excitement. You mean not a lot of action and not a lot of excitement. You know, it was a split decision victory from LYOTO Machida. I know some people may say it for Henderson. It could be kind of a controversial finish for so many people. Many people could say, like I said, this is a controversial finish. But I thought Machida was kind of more dominant in the strikes and a takedown and stuff. So anytime Henderson could get him, he couldn't reach him because LYOTO is so elusive. That's the problem. These two guys are two guys that didn't not just fight not to lose, but two guys who wait for the other to flinch. You know, and it's hard to flinch the other. And Hendo, coming back from an injury, he hasn't fought in 2 years since that awesome fight against him and Shogun. His fight against Shogun back in November of 2011. Way better than this fight. And of course, Hendo got injured back in September, causing the only cancellation of an UFC event, period. That was the unsuccessful, never happening, UFC 152. When he had to pull out the fight between him and Jones. And of course, Chael Sonnen denied it. Well, Chael Sonnen tried to take Hendo's place, but of course, John didn't want to fight 10 days. Now we got Sonnen and John Jones. 1.5 out of 5 for this fight. It just lacked excitement for me. Not a lot of action. There was some, like I said, decent strikes, but not a lot of excitement and action from these two guys. And I was expecting more from these two. They're great fighters, great champions, but it didn't show that they deserve to face John Jones or Chael Sonnen. They didn't show me why they deserve it. Like LYOTO Machida, he did not show me why he thinks he should be number one contender. And it's probably he could be number one contender, but in my opinion, I think LYOTO should get one more fight until, because Hendo was the number one contender supposedly until he pulled out an injury. LYOTO beat him, but in my mind, LYOTO needs one more win to get a shot against Bones or Sonnen, and it better be an exciting win, because you ain't gonna get a title shot with a lack of excitement match like this was. Now on to the main event, which I never thought I would say this. I never thought a girls fight in a UFC event. This is the first ever UFC girls fight, women's fight. I never thought that a women's fight would be 10 times better than any of the guys' fights tonight, despite being a one-rounder. It was the UFC Featherweight Women's Championship on the line as Ronda Rousey defending the title against Liz CAMOUCHE. Now, this is what we've been waiting for the entire night. These girls did not let up. It was exciting. It was intense. Liz CAMOUCHE almost got a submission on her. Like, Ronda Rousey always, everyone knows from watching Ronda's fights, I've seen 2 Ronda fights, she always tries to go for the armbar. Like, Ronda did try for the armbar in the beginning of the first round. These girls were just going at it tooth and nail from the get-go. Liz CAMOUCHE then caught Ronda with a surprise choke, and I thought it was over. I really thought that Ronda Rousey was going to lose. I think of the fights I've seen Ronda, this is the only time I've ever seen Ronda Rousey close to losing before. But Ronda got right out of it, and it was tooth and nail from the get-go. They were down on the ground, getting it on, something that lacked in the first 4 fights. Excitement and action. And of course, in the end, despite all that action, the same ending of every Ronda Rousey fight happened. 14 seconds left in the round. Ronda Rousey did get the armbar submission, making Liz CAMOUCHE tap out. And Ronda Rousey retains the UFC Women's Featherweight Championship for the first time in the UFC. I may get criticism for rating this high in the end of the match tonight, but a 2.5 out of 5. Despite being a first rounder, once again, first round submission, it was more exciting than the other fights of the night. You know, it had excitement. It had action. These 2 girls really put it on. You know what I mean? You know it's a sad day when the girls outshine the boys in the UFC. Now I thought I'd say that. And hopefully Ronda Rousey can keep it going. I've seen her 2 fights, and they were both exciting despite the same ending and all. But Ronda Rousey's a great fighter. She's a great influence for a lot of young girls to say, hey, you don't just have to be a supermodel or anything glamorous. You can go out and fight pretty, and fight better than anybody on the WWE roster today. Divas. They fought better than Divas. Some went equal to knockouts in TNA. So anyway, I know I may get shouted out for making wrestling references in a cage fighting review, but hey, these girls can really fight. And they fight better than, well, anybody. But anyway, there you go. Ronda Rousey retains the Featherweight Championship. I wonder who's... I didn't watch Strike Force that much because one thing, I didn't own Showtime. Although I did see her last 2 title defenses. Well, the night she won the title and the first title defense she made on live streaming. So it was my first time watching it without streaming it on the internet. So seeing Ronda fight on the TV, and I think she's got a bright future ahead of her. She is a dominant force. She could be the most dominant female in UFC. If she keeps this up, Ronda Rousey could be a dominant women's fighter and ranked among the legends in UFC, not just women's, but men too, if she can keep this up. So there you go. That is my thoughts, my review, my opinion on UFC 157. I just thought the first couple of fights, the last couple of UFC cards did not lacked excitement for me and action. But this girls' main event made up for it. But it didn't save the entire pay-per-view for me. But it's still great main event from Ronda Rousey and Liz CAMOUCHE, showing that the girls can put on a great fight. And unfortunately, put on a better fight than 2 former world champions in Dana Henderson and LYOTO Machida. I am sorry, guys. It just didn't lack the excitement for me. So there you go. That's my review. Thank you all very much for watching. With that in mind, you have all been attacked by the review from Zach. Thank you all very much. See you all later. Yeah.